Good evening. Feel like I'm about to deliver the nightly news, but there's no news in the Earlverse today. Just a normal hump day in the Earlverse. Of course, we got AEW wrestling on tonight. I haven't watched it yet. Outside of the MJF speech in the beginning, pretty good. Crowd seemed a little dead, to be honest with you, but it is Colorado. So they're probably all high as fudge. Um, and well, I think the main event tonight was Roderick Strong against Swerve Strickland. Although a good uh, speech from MJF from the standpoint of he seemed to call out Okada, Osprey. So clearly setting up a potential feud in the future with both, which I'd be down for. Now, the key is, I'm sure Osprey didn't sign on to lose in London. I'm sure MJF didn't sign on to lose. Um, and I'm sure Okada was promised some sort of title match and victory. So it's going to be interesting to see how they navigate the murky waters of that situation. Plus, you got Wardlow calling MJF a pussy on Twitter today. So, clearly, he's still fishing around. And, that's appealing to me because they do have a history. Wardlow used to be MJF's bodyguard, then they turn on each other. So, it'll be interesting. And then I watched last night the first episode of What Killed WCW, or Who Killed WCW. I think it's a 4-part series on Vice. Clearly, they're piggybacking off of Dark Side of the Ring, which I love. I don't really like Dark Side of the 90s or Dark Side of football, or I think there's Dark Side of basketball too. It's just not doing it for me. Because I'm sure the NFL is basically tried to stop people from going on that show. That's what I love about the Dark Side of the Ring is, if they're doing it on Abdullah the Butcher, he's in it, and people he wrestled are in it. So there doesn't seem to be a lot of strings attached to Dark Side of the Ring in terms of copyrights and whatnot. I mean, they do show WWE footage, which is surprising because it's not like the show is favorable towards WWE. If anything, it's pretty I don't want to say anti WWE, but they don't paint Vince McMahon in a great light in any episode he's brought up in. What up, Vallejo? I hope I'm saying that right. Vallejo, Nick the Neen. Yes, William Zoom, stay safe, baby. Some rough Midwest weather. By the way, the Nemeth brothers, Velo. Okay, I'm sorry about that. I know oftentimes in the internet, on YouTube, me mispronouncing a name probably comes off as me roasting you or whatever. I just didn't know how to say your name. You are from Finland, am I mistaken? You are somewhere far away, is what I remember. Um, well, I mean, I will say that was my problem with the Iron Claw. Um, that was my problem as well with the Dark Side of the Ring. I mean, uh, and I understand, like in the Iron Claw. Oh, Montreal. I'm sorry about that. For some reason, I thought you were. Yes, I was in JFL. I did JFL twice, both times roast battle related. The first time it was basically an unaired production of roast battle where we threw everything against the wall to see what stuck. And then the second time was the season 1 where I defeated Tom Ballard, Jimmy Carr, lost to Sarah Tiana, and then beat K. Trevor Wilson. And beat Jesse Joyce in Los Angeles, which was a precursor to that season. Um, I love Montreal. I mean, as a hockey fan, I was in heaven just walking around um, that beautiful city, the brick buildings. I mean, it's really the opposite of LA, which LA is all modern, like RoboCop style buildings, and Montreal is like pretty legit. So, but getting back to the Von Erichs, yeah, I mean, the dad, his basically heel character was a fucking Nazi. They left that out of the movie, and they made it seem like the curse of the Von Erichs was just because of a silly name change. I don't think so. And then the movie left out the one brother suicide. Um, you look depressed. I'm happy. I'm happy tonight. Love all soldiers in the Earl Rock Army. We are soldiers. 9 people strong right now. You people might think I would get discouraged with the constant low numbers in the Earlverse, but not me. I have a good time. And when I stop having a good time, I'll stop doing the Earlverse. Not enough wrestling, Drunken Donuts. Not enough wrestling. So, I thought I'd just do an Earlverse in the hump day. I had a little bit of oral surgery yesterday, so I did not do it at 6. It's very gay, 100% on that. Kongzilla still recovering from Hackamania. Like I said, my review doesn't change. I give it an A minus. I see, of course, people in the Dabbleverse giving me shit for my review, but I was there, so I don't, all these people shitting on the Hackamania, um, they weren't there. So, I've never had any sexual disease, knock on wood. Um, yes, the wildlife. Come on, dude. Um, listen, Melton did me right. I know he's a controversial figure in the podcasting and streaming worlds, but he paid me more than he said he would. He could have docked my pay because he paid for 3 nights of a hotel room, which I only used 1. He didn't. Um, Everything he said he would do, he did. I mean, I know it's not popular, but the guy did me right. That's all I can tell you. Yeah, I like Zach. He did Inappropriate Earl. I forget what episode it was, but I've always gotten along with Zach. See, that's the thing, like, people just talking shit just to talk about it. Because I've never blown out my nose with cocaine and my brain with drugs and weed and booze, I didn't smell anyone that had BO. Listen, I mean, the room definitely had a rock and roll club smell, and it's not BO. It's just, I don't know how long Synwave has been in existence, but you could tell they've had probably hundreds of concerts, and you can't remove that smell from the room. I don't care what you clean it with. The green room was nice. There was plenty of drinks. I know the sound of the comedy show was good. I don't know. I know the next day when I was driving back to LA, it seemed like they were having some technical difficulties. Um, Zac Efron's a great actor. I mean, I thought he was fantastic in the Ted Bundy movie. Um, and although I thought, and this is just me being a stickler, every actor playing a Von Erich was too small, except for the guy who played David. But he was like he was a little skinny to play him. I mean, the Von Erichs were big fucking dudes. I mean, Kerry Von Erich was 6'4", 250, 260. Kevin Von Erich's probably about my size. Um, I mean, I don't watch Zach's content. I mean, I really, I think with Zach, Zach to me is like Kiss. You either love him or you hate him, and I guess that's probably how I am. I mean, every time I see a review on my stand-up, it's either this guy's a legend or he sucks. Nothing in between. So, but he's doing quite well for himself. He's like one of the more popular New York City comics. What was it worse than modern wrestling fans? In terms of the fans were awesome, man. I mean, as soon as I walked into the bar area at Sinwave, I was greeted by a lot of Dabbleverse fans, and it was awesome. Like, I really have nothing to complain about. Hence the A minus grade. Now, the people who ordered the stream and it didn't work or they had trouble logging in, I could understand them rating it lower. But, I'm grading it A minus based on my experience. Now, the travel sucked, but that's not on Melton or Hackmania in general. Um, well, I mean, yeah, I mean, that guy who played Carrie, Jeremy Allen White, Kerry Von Erich's 6'4", 260, maybe even 6'5". And I don't know how big Jeremy White is, but like he seems to be about, I would guess he's 5'10", 160, 170 pounds, maybe. I mean, he's jacked. And Kevin Von Erich, um, he's probably my size, 6'1", 6 feet, maybe. So, I don't know, I mean, I once again, though, I when it first came out, I think I gave it an 8.5 out of 10 if you don't know the story, you don't know what the Von Erich brothers look like or talk like or sound like. I think if you do know the story, I think I gave it like a 7 or 6.5 out of 10. They took so many liberties, to not go over the last brother's suicide, which to me was the most interesting suicide. He basically killed himself because he didn't look like his brothers. He wasn't physically gifted like they were. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've only seen him. One of the co-creators of the Jellies, Lionel Boyce, is in that show on Hulu with Jeremy White, Lionel Boyce. And Lionel's about my size, 6 feet. So in the scenes they were in together, Jeremy seemed an inch or two shorter. So I'm guessing. Um, what up, Mason in Portland? Did you watch her? I did watch Who Killed WCW. I enjoyed it. I mean, for the first episode, Cogswell Reyes 20 waiting for his stream. I mean, I don't really care what other people. I mean, do I wish I had 50 people in there? 100%. I absolutely do. I'd be lying to you guys if I said, I wish there wasn't another zero at the end of that 10. But you know, what can I do? I enjoy the streams. And I don't do the Dabbleverse stuff, you know. I mean, you look at my set from Hackmania, the first few minutes were rough because I was actually doing jokes. Wasn't doing any Dabbleverse related stuff. And, I didn't plan on it anyway. I just want to do stand up. And, if you like my stand up, great. If you want to hear April jokes, then I'm not the guy for you. Um, I didn't know that, Dr. Nova. But I mean, like leaving, I know the producer of the Iron Claw said, "Well, I didn't want to put another suicide in the movie; it would have made it too sad." But that's the fucking movie. That's the story. It's like when I watch 9/11, I don't want them to only take down one tower. Two towers were taken down. I want to see that. Probably not the best way to state that, but I mean, yeah, I'm just not interested in the Dabbleverse, which is why I thought I told Melton I'm only staying for the stand-up, but I don't think I did. Looking back, um, I think I was already dreading the Vegas drive. Do I realize my numbers could be a lot bigger and better and more super chats and all that shit? gifted memberships if I sat there and said, okay, for the next 20 minutes, I'm going to talk about Ray and Chad. 100%. I'd have 100 people in here right now. And given my roasting capabilities, I probably have 200 people in here over time. But I'd rather do a stream with 16 people. I swear. I wish there were more people in here, but you know, I just don't care about that world because it's all about shit talking online. If I got something bad to say to you, I say it to your face. It's a lot tougher that way. I'm telling you right now, that bum root beer, fuck, that's good stuff. Even if you don't, you just feel like you're drinking A&W. I mean, it's a good movie, Chris. Is it? I mean, like, it's a great movie if you don't know the story. What's your opinion on Bischoff constantly annihilating Meltzer and Tony Khan? Well, I mean, he definitely, and I'm friends with Eric, full disclosure. I mean, we're not like best friends, but like we're friends. I wrote for him on the Ric Flair roast, full disclosure. Um, he definitely doesn't seem to be a huge fan of AEW. He's definitely not a fan of Meltzer. Meltzer is basically a gossip reporter for wrestling, and I'm sure he's written a lot of things bad about Eric. So I get why they don't like each other. Um, I mean, I think a lot of his criticisms are valid. I mean, AEW does a lot wrong, but they also do a lot right. I mean, listen, as someone who's been to two AEW shows in the last 2 weeks, Bakersfield and the LA Forum, I won't call it the Kia Forum. Um, they do a lot right too. I mean, listen, they stole Okada, Osprey, and Mercedes from WWE, so they should be given credit for that. I thought, for the most part, the Devil storyline was very well written. The reveal isn't what I would have done, but hey, fuck it. Um, the WWE is full of ramped homosexuality. I'm starting to like you, Drunken Donuts. I can't um, disagree with that, but so is AEW. Uh, I mean, William Zoom, you're a better man than I am. What up, Spurg Snake? Uh, I mean, I used to go my favorite dirt sheet online. I don't go on them anymore because I'm knowledgeable. I know enough people in the business now where if I want to hear the gossip, I just text them and they tell me what's really going on about what was it? lordsofpain.net. I don't know if it's still around, but you know, I remember they ruined Warrior's return for me in WCW when some guy put a post, "Hey, I'm in Buffalo tonight, here to see Raw, and Warrior was on my flight." I'm like, "Oh, he's coming back tonight. Thanks." So, I mean, and I would say what AEW does wrong also is, the live shows. Some of the venues and cities they pick are questionable. Like Bakersfield was a great card, but half the fucking arena was full. Like the other side of the arena, and they did it very well for the cameras. Like when I went back home and watched it, they made it seem like the arena was pretty full, but that arena, it's where the Edmonton Oilers farm team plays. I think they're the Bakersfield Condors. Um, if you told me that arena had 2,500 people that night, I'd be surprised. I mean, there was no line to get in. I mean, there was a semi line for the merch, which, and that's another thing that AEW is behind WWE, and the merch stand was very inadequate. I think they had 5 T-shirts, two or three of them just generic AEW shirts. They did have a nice Jungle Boy Jack Perry scapegoat shirt, which I bought. And they had a couple autographed action figures, but they weren't even of popular people. They were like of I think one was like of Andrade, who's not even in the fucking company anymore. Um, so that's and when I went to Sting's not last match, but his final appearance in LA, I think they had like one Sting t-shirt. Now if that's WWE, they have 10. They have Sting dolls, they have Sting bats, they have Sting gloves, they have Sting koozies, and that's where you definitely see why they are behind WWE in some cases. Uh, Renee, good for you, ACDC. Good for you. Uh, See, this is a fun stream. You guys are just effing around. Oh, okay. I don't watch anyone's podcast, even Joey Diaz. By the way, episode 666, ironically enough, of Joey's podcast is me. Probably the biggest podcast I've ever done, until I get Rogan or Theo's. But, I used to be friends with Theo, but, he got a little too big time, I guess. Which is not how if I ever got to Theo's level, I'd still I'm still friends with everyone I did open mics with. Um, Dr. Nova, Earl, is it true that chewing tobacco turns a man into a sexual tyrannosaurus? Hey, strap this on your sore ass, Nova. Uh, you guys are asking me questions via rat songs. I'm not very tough, to be honest with you. Boulder Johnny, when are you going back to Austin? Uh, I will go back. I'm not going to claw my way to get back there. I was treated very nicely by the Austin comics. Rogan himself treated me very nice. Hinchcliffe was very good to me. Brian Holtzman. But there's just, to be honest with you, there's just too many people ahead of me there, and I'm not gonna wander around 12th in line. Which is why a lot of people, why don't you move to New York? You'd kill in New York. I'm not gonna go on at 2 in the morning at the Cellar, hoping someone important sees me. I'm treated very well at the Comedy Store. Um, and I will use that as my continued home base of operation. But I will come back to Austin. Dr. Nova, Earl, when you got to Hackamania, did you ask not to be disturbed because you were dead tired? Are you doing a commando line? I was so tired, I drove around the venue twice. And then, I had a little bit of adrenaline, you know, and I got to see some friends. I'm friends with Kool-Aid, the heavy set Vegas comic. Um, and I was exciting for me because I've never met Melton before. We were on a Death Squad show many years ago, but I don't think we talked. Got to meet Pat Dixon, got to meet Ray, and got to see a lot of Vegas comics like Adam Dominguez, who I am good friends with, but I don't get to see a lot. So that's, once again, got to meet Carl. It was incredibly nice. Dr. Steve left me a very nice DM today. Um, so I had a really good time. I mean, I would do it again. And, I said I would never drive there again. I will never drive to Vegas in the daytime ever again. If I did, what I should have done is drive up there Thursday night, crash at some shitty hotel, close to Vegas, like Whiskey Pete's or something, and then go there, go to a gym or something in the afternoon and then hit Hackamania. I mean, I definitely um, will travel there differently again. Um, I mean, I can't tell you, it's an image I will never get out of my mind. And only if you've done the LA to Vegas drive do you know that route. When you hit the 15 and you start going up the hill, it's similar to traveling the Grapevine, which is the 5. When you're coming like from Palmdale, Lancaster, that's the 5. The Grapevine is that part of the LA roads where trucks break down because it's a straight uphill drive. This area of the 15 is like that. It's basically the Vegas Grapevine. And I'm telling you, there were cars as long as I could see. Just miles. It's like that. It was like that scene in Used Cars, just miles and miles and miles and miles of cars. And I'd say the average speed, maybe 30 miles an hour. But that's my fault. I've known that was the only downer of the week. I can't even say the weekend, but the 24 hours I was there. But I also don't mind going to Vegas for 24 hours because I don't drink, I don't gamble. I mean, I bet a little bit on horses and hockey, but, um, that was the only, negative. I mean, listen, the Grand is not exactly in Beverly Hills. I mean, it's a rough, uh, part of town. That's why I'm glad Ray went with KB walking around. When we got back to the hotel after the dirty at 12:30, it was probably 3 in the morning, and, they wanted to walk around Fremont Street. I was so fucking tired. And, there were no bed bugs. That was fake news, rigged election or whatever. My bed was clean, has a whistle. The shower was great. The room was, I'm not going to lie and say there was a great view of the homeless doing crack outside, but uh, nice TV. I love watching TV in a bed. I have trouble sleeping in a bed that's not mine. So, I hate to disappoint people, but all the people talking poorly about Hackmania, you're just wrong. I was there. Let me see if I didn't miss any questions. I did drive past that Air Force Base. Buffs, I don't know what you're talking about. We got some crosstalk going there. Yeah, I mean, Christine 16, when you really analyze the lyrics of that song and Gene going, that day I saw you coming out of school, that's high school. I just knew I've got to have you. I've got to have you. And then Paul Stanley chimes in on the chorus. She's been around, but she's young and clean. They're talking about a fucking 15, 16-year-old. Like, Jesus. And they still do the song. It's one thing in the 70s when those guys are in their late 20s, it's kind of cool. But when they're in their 70s, goodbye. What are your thoughts on Kiss manager Bill Coyne, well-known sexual tryst with young teenagers? I mean, listen, you guys know my line in the sand. I don't care what you do with a girl as long as she's over 18 or boy. Uh, I mean, it was just a different era back then. To me, it's still wrong. Um, but some people, it's amazing to me, like when I spoke out about certain statutory situations in the LA comedy scene, the first question I would get would be, well, how old was the dude? And in this one case, a 16-year-old had fooled around with a lot of comics, and one of the guys was the one I was speaking out about. Well, he was 22. Well, that's close enough. Like, the defense of that is unbelievable to me, and I'd be like, "Man, I hope you have a daughter one day, and I hope she gets fucked by a 22-year-old when she's 16, and let's see your take on it then." Um, oh, thank you. That protein cookie was pretty little dry. Um, yes, you're right. Bill Coyne definitely, Jeff Ross wrote that song for Ringo Starr. No more Jeff Ross talking here. You think I'm charging for Dabbleverse questions. I'm trying to move on with my life. So any Jeff Ross related content, $20. Sorry, guys. I've got to take a stand. Um, Boulder Johnny, if you had to spend 10 grand of someone else's money in Vegas, would you get a dime piece lady? I'm not paying to get pussy. So I would play blackjack because that's the game I understand the most. Although the last time I played blackjack, me and Chandler were at a wedding. Not David Chandler, Chandler, my ex, and I, I think I hit on 19. I just said all in. It was $100, and I lost, of course. So I just went home and I went upstairs and watched MSNBC. Um, I mean, it was the best, one of the best tasting energy drinks I've ever had. I mean, it literally tasted like you're drinking A&W root beer. Uh, Yes, I mean, Jeremy Piven's out of control, like but nobody cares, man. So I've decided with all these creeps and molesters, I don't care either now. Girls, you're on your own. Have a good time. You'll learn the hard way, unfortunately. Um, oh, I think yeah, all games are totally rigged, but like I could at least in my head, William, see myself winning a hand of blackjack. Like poker, I don't understand at all. I just don't understand it. I never have. Full house, flush, all that bullshit. But blackjack is what it is. So I mean, listen, and it's why I've never got into gambling, like with cards or slot machines. You play long enough, you will lose. You might win. You might be up 100 grand the first hour of whatever you're playing, blackjack. But if you play that blackjack game another hour, you will be down. So I'd rather buy a jacket. I'd rather buy, I don't know, a new computer. I'd rather buy a new microphone. Um, well, I'd be good at poker because I've got a great monotone personality. So I don't get too happy um, when something good happens to me. I don't get too sad, at least visually when something bad happens to me. I mean, I could have pocket aces, and I don't even know what that means, but I hear that term a lot. And I would be like this, right? I'd be like, and I could have, a pair of twos, and I'd have the same expression. And I'd also probably shit talk because that's in person. I'd be like, "Hey, man, I hope you can beat these pocket aces." Um, but see, I don't see that with a slot machine. That's truly just luck. Like, I think at least with blackjack, you could bait people into doing stuff that at least enhances the odds. Um, I don't even know how to do that, William. But I think the, stream is pretty clear right now, and the sound's good, so, um, let's fingers crossed, and hopefully one day when I move somewhere else, I get a area that we are, fiber optic cable is a, um, possibility for me. I do kinda like the all dark room. I've turned the TV off, so I mean, at least this is visually interesting. To me, it is. The red sign, the weird looking Sting mask. Earl, if you had to bet who wins the AFC North, I mean, it's a tough division. I mean, Baltimore's pretty good. Cincinnati's good. I mean, Pittsburgh, with that defense, they're never out of it. Cleveland's not bad either. I mean, they're going to eat their own. I mean, as a Steeler fan, I would love it if the Steelers won, but they have a tough fucking schedule, man. I mean, I think six of their last eight games are against the division. So, they got Kansas City, I think, in Pittsburgh. Christmas Day. I think they play the Raiders in October in Vegas. I still don't know how that makes sense that they play in Las Vegas 2 years in a row. I would think that you'd make the Raiders play in Pittsburgh. Um, well, I'm in West Hollywood, and it just unfortunately where I'm at, it's just a dead zone of Wi-Fi hotspots. So I have what I do when my stream is looking really good, I'm using my Wi-Fi hotspot off of my phone. KB. The honor was all mine. All mine. Uh, I mean, I'm 55. I would say um, the demographic tends to be older white men, and there's a couple women, not many. Um, Yeah, but I would think it's fair to the Steelers. Like they had to come out here last year, make the Raiders go out there. Now the Steelers won, so I guess it didn't really matter where they were playing. But that's a good. Oh, I'm sorry, your Sam Roberts question. Oh, sorry, Kev. Do you know Sam Roberts? I think he'd have you on his wrestling show in a heartbeat. He had many AEW guys on, be a nice bump. Yeah, I would. I love Sam Roberts. I think my last Kill Tony appearance was me, Sam Roberts, and Jungle Jim Norton. So, we got along. I mean, Sam's actually pretty quiet. And I believe Sam did the Comedy Store Wrestling podcast. And then me and Eddie Torres did a brief appearance on Sam's Samomania show, which was held last year at the Comedy Store in honor of WrestleMania. Yes, very nice to meet you, Kay. I'm sorry I got so tired that night. I would have loved to have hung out with you. Right, I don't know about at that hour, but I tapped out. And for those of you wondering who have not met Kay in person, she's even lovelier in person. Um, I love ACDC. Because Mary Mosley is a fantastic girl. Uh, the Wildlife, it's a great, great movie. And the guy who was the cashier in that scene um, ended up being a huge director, Dean Devlin. I think he did the first Godzilla movie, and he was also in Real Genius. It's funny to see some of these low budget movies with actors in like one scene, and they later become huge directors. Like if you've ever seen the movie The Last American Virgin, the guy who played the good-looking guy in that movie, Steve Anton, ended up becoming a huge director. Um, Good for you, Ross. KB is hot, no doubt about it. But I was tapping out at 3 a.m. and knowing that I had to drive back the next day, I'm like, I got to go. Yeah, Dean Devlin. Yeah, he's probably in about 5 or 6 movies, and then you get it's like Salami from The White Shadow. Timothy Van Patten, huge director, did like most of the episodes of Boardwalk Empire. He did a lot of the episodes of The Sopranos, and a lot of people from The White Shadow work a lot. Kevin Hooks is a fantastic director. I did many episodes of Prison Break. Uh, well, Dan Schneider, yeeks. Um, and who else? Thomas Carter, who played Haywood on the White Shadow. He worked a lot. Not sure what he's up to now, but just funny to see some of these almost borderline character actors become big producers and directors. Wings Hauser, one of my favorite character actors, has produced a lot of films. Brian Robbins. I think you're at Robbins. I think his name's Brian Robbins. He's Keith Gordon is a guy who was in Jaws 2, obviously Christine, not Christine 16, but Christine, and a huge director. And the guy, this is funny if you've ever seen the movie Just One of the Guys. Now I realize I'm doing a bit of a deep dive here, but the kid who played the horny brother, Billy Jacoby, huge in the commercial business. Like he's like a big, I don't know if he's a casting director or something, or he does something like big time in the commercial world. Um, so it's just funny that um, some of these people, maybe their acting careers don't pan out, but they become big and behind the scenes. Yeah, John Stockwell, if you knew him, obviously from Losing It, and Christine as well. I think wasn't he Spider and no, he was Spider and Losing It. He was the guy who quit, I think, in Top Gun, the first pilot who quit. Big time producer. Uh, yeah, Lee Ving, an established, I wouldn't call him an actor. I mean, of course, I think his greatest role was either The Wildlife or starring as the dirty cop in the great Ken Wall guilty pleasure movie, maybe the greatest guilty pleasure movie of all time, Escape from Beverly Hills. Just so bad it's good. And I'm a big Ken Wall guy. Ken Wall said he would come on the Inappropriate Earl podcast, but so did Meat from Porky's. Rest in peace, aka Tony Ganos, aka the guy Bruce Willis stabbed with an ice pick in Die Hard 2. Um, yeah, that blonde was cute. I don't recall seeing her in much after that. Of course, Mitch, her boyfriend in that movie was what's not Mitch McConaughey, McCloskey, maybe. Um, he later was on Dallas and I think Happy Days. Wise Guy was a great show the early years. Great cast. You had Ray Sharkey, piece of shit as a human because he knowingly passed out HIV to people, very similar to Ray Gillen from the band Badlands. But um, great. And the guy from Beverly Hills Cop, the steel blue eyes, go-to character actor in a lot of the mid to late 80s films. Um, who is married to Dirk Benedict? Oh, that girl from just the blonde from Just One of the Guys. There's another guy, Dirk Benedict. He kind of Battlestar Galactica. Where are you, Richard Hatch? Thank you very much. A Team, and then he just kind of, was always on like shit like The Love Boat and stuff. Um, I mean, this business is brutal. You could be at top of the food chain and then nothing. Um, yeah, I mean, and Ron Wood from the Rolling Stones had a very brief cameo in the Wildlife. I think he was stealing the pizza. And of course, you had the great, what is the guy's name? He was the Colonel in Boogie Nights. William Zoom, help me out. Robert Ridgely. Um, a lot of people don't know this, but they had to film the Colonel's scenes in Boogie Nights uh, first because he was dying during the filming of that movie. You see Eleanor and Rick on Bert's show. Lots of painter talk. $2, Peter Chicken Man Brennan. I don't watch Bert's show. I would love to be on it, but I don't watch it. Yes, you're right, ACDC. Between you and William Zoom, I never have to feel wrong again. You guys are really on top of it. I never saw Black Moon Rising. Yeah, I mean, Painter, James Painter, iconic LA, I don't want to say open mic or, I've never watched Bert do comedy. But you guys know I don't watch comedy. I don't want to keep repeating that. But, I mean, listen, I think Bert's funny, even though I've never watched him do comedy. You simply don't play arenas. You don't fill arenas if you're not funny. Like, I know a lot of unfunny people. They ain't filling an arena. I mean, that's crazy. I can't ever imagine. Like, when I was at AEW in Bakersfield, I thought, yeah, this is 5,000 people. I wonder if I could ever get so big where I could play this arena. Uh, I mean, well, AC/DC, I can't tell you you're wrong. I mean, I don't tell people how they feel about. I mean, listen, I remember seeing Bert basically play a telephone repairman jacking off outside of a window in an episode of The Shield. And someone probably just saw him, met him, took a liking to him, and bingo. That's all you really need in this business. You need one person to take a liking to you, who can help you. Oh, thank you, ACDC 5150. I don't like to steal people from Gino or anyone else, to be honest with you. But as you know, at some point you got to go on. And, you know, thought 7 p.m. would be a good time. Uh, well, I don't know many magicians that fill arenas. Williams, I mean, unless you're talking about like David Copperfield. Um, Bert is chubby guy, drinks, takes his shirt off. Oofa. Yeah, but you know what? Like, listen, I can't hate on him for that. Do you know how many times I've been in the main room at the Comedy Store? Maybe the crowd was dead. Of course, I'm going on last, but like, and I'm not complaining. Believe me, there's plenty of comics who don't get any spots at the store. If you said to these comics, would you like to go on last Saturday night at the Comedy Store? Oh, boom, boom. Um, so I've taken my shirt off. I've had the sound guy start playing Judas Priest, and I lip sync "Breaking the Law." There I was, completely wasted, out of work and down. All this town is so frustrated as I drift from town to town, feeling as if nobody cares if I live or die. So I might as well begin to put some action in your life. Uh, yeah, I mean, I don't. With Copperfield and David Blaine, yeah, those two guys do. Um, but you know, I mean, comedy is subjective. I mean, look, every time I see, uh, look at the Hackmania reviews. I've seen people, people send me screenshots saying Earl was the funniest one, and then someone else will send me Earl was bombing. So was it the funniest one or was I bombing? Which one is it? Um, See, I don't know about Jay Moore and Bert, and there's a lot of stealing that goes on in the comedy world. Trust me on that one. Are you happy to see O'Neill finally start branching out a bit more and opening for Bert's new mini tour? I didn't know he was. I mean, that's how little I know about what goes on if it doesn't involve me. I had no idea O'Neill was out with Bert, but you know, I'm happy for him. I mean, he's a good man. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Gutfeld would help me that much, but it wouldn't hurt. Um, I'll read this. Earl, what was your reaction when you found out the lead singer from Judas Priest is a bone smoker? I don't know why that's so funny to me. Um, I mean, I don't care really. I really don't care. I mean, listen, the Village People, most of them were gay. I don't care. I do think it's funny that, I would say the heavy metal fan base is probably borderline homophobic. And it would have been interesting to me if he came out in the mid 80s instead of the 90s, um, to see what that fan base, uh, what their reaction would have been. So, that's why I've heard like a couple MMA fighters are gay on the DL, but like there's no way they could come out to that fan base because, I would say for the most part, MMA fans are, semi homophobic. I mean, do you know how many times I've been in either a UFC watch party or a UFC event and heard the F word? And I don't mean uck. Um, yeah, Dice doesn't get, or I'm sorry, SCB. I did not know Michael Richards was making a comeback. I mean, listen, people forgave OJ. I'm sure Michael Richards can get a pass. And now, if I were him, first gig I would do at the Laugh Factory, and I'd invite the two guys who heckled them to the show and have them sit in the front row. Um, I mean, I've tried through a few backdoor channels to get on Gutfeld. I mean, who knows? Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. In general, I don't like being on shows with panels because you have to do the fake laughter when someone else is telling a story, and I don't find a lot of things funny. So if I'm sitting next to Kennedy, I have to be like on camera. I have to be like, like that shit that goes on in comedy, Comics Unleashed. Uh, here's my my favorite new Earlverse stream name, Beloved Ball Washer. I just love that name, Ball Washer. I was watching Ray and contemplating blowing my head off, and then saw you were on. You saved my life, Big Earl. Or Earl. You didn't call me Big Earl. Yeah, I mean the guy from King Cobra, Marcy Free now. What a voice though. He was the OG Caitlyn Jenner, and no one really brings him up. All these people going trans, which is fine. I don't care. But the guy from King Cobra did it when it wasn't popular. Um, which is weird to watch that video for Never Say Die. And you watch that and go, yeah, I could see him as a woman. Um, yeah, I mean, Trump was popular at the UFC fights, but then he totally faked it at the NASCAR thing when he was like acting that the crowd was cheering for him and they were actually cheering the race. Uh, yeah, I mean, I mean, obviously, you can't generalize. Well, all metal fans are homophobic. I mean, I'm the biggest metal fan on earth. I'm the only straight guy in my building, so I'm anything but homophobic. But I mean, you obviously, that you look at some of the Judas Priest videos, the signs were there, ram it down. I mean, he wasn't talking about a girl. Uh, Daddy Man, the king of backdoor channels. Boing. DePaulo makes big dollars writing Guffel jokes nightly. Oh, yeah. I mean, if you could get on a show like that and write jokes, like, and it's probably so easy for DePaulo. Like, he's so funny. And hey, Nick, we need 10 jokes about Trump. He probably bangs them out in 20 minutes. Did you ever see anyone bomb worse? Oh, yeah. I mean, I've seen so much worse than what Michael Richards did at the Laugh Factory. I was doing a show. Hold on. Let me get my energy drink to power me through the final 15 or so minutes of the Earl verse in the hump day. Hold on. I got to take my vitamins with it. And no, I'm not taking dick pills. Relax. Here, this will piss off people. Look, I'm a performer. Did I miss any questions? An energy drink. How many energy drinks do you drink a day? Who knows? 2 to 3. 2 to 3. Beloved ball. Nice dishwasher. It ties the room together. Uh, yeah, I mean, I know my background isn't the best, but I'm kind of digging this. I mean, like, listen, if you're going on YouTube and you're looking at streams, is this the most interesting background? Probably not, to be frank. But how many people have a background with a picture of Kamala, the Ugandan giant? I get lowest, I think, Friday. Yeah, Halford, I've seen Priest about 2 to 3 times. He's delivered every single time. I mean, you know, is it really Judas Priest now with 2 replacement guitar players? I think Richie Faulkner and Andy Sneed. But what are you going to do? Glenn Tipton has Parkinson's. KK they don't get along with. I mean, it's like an Ace and Gene level hatred. So, it's better than not having them play at all. What is your opinion on banging exes? I mean, it depends. You think Matthew Claybrooks ever forgives Tommy? Peter, I don't think so, Peter. Peter with some deep, deep cuts tonight. I gotta say, I love Trump politics. I could care less about his personality. All politicians are scumbags. 100%. I mean, listen, Trump's policies benefit me more than Biden's do, to be honest with you. But um, I mean, it's man, he's a pretty scummy guy, though. I mean, SCV. I mean, it depends how it happens. I guess. I mean, I've certainly banged an ex. Uh, I mean, and every breakup's different. I mean, certainly my last couple breakups have all happened for different reasons. I mean, with a few ago, there was just nothing I could do. There's nothing I could have done to prevent that breakup. And then, it depends on, like I'm friends with most of my exes. So, if they're horny one night, you're horny one night. Um, Now, if you still have feelings for them and they don't have feelings for you, they just want to get, porked, I don't recommend it. But if you're just two horny people and the sex was good and what's up, Grimace and Pain? Um, it's a case by case basis. Um, you know, so you know, are you doing it under the guise of, hey, let's get back together? Or, I don't like being an option. It's like I'm either the choice or I'm not. I don't like being in a rotation. So if we're fucking, we're dating. I mean, but that's how I am now. 20 years ago, I would have fucked this energy drink can if the hole was big enough. Boing! You guys are getting the tame, Earl. Um, yeah, I mean, listen, I don't tell people who to like, Boulder Johnny. I mean, I liked the Trump in 2016, but now he's stumbling and fumbling as bad as Biden. That last speech he gave yesterday, sweating bullets. I mean, just speaking incoherently. I mean, this election's going to be these. I can't wait for the debates. What is it? What's the date today? June 5th, is it? So we got 22 days to the first. I mean, that debate is going to be must. We'll do a live watch of that. Uh, how often? I've never really run into that woman on the gangbang circuit, but that's not my life anymore. ACDC, go back and watch that speech from yesterday. He was incoherent, and I voted for him. I mean, it was like he's literally speaking. I'll try and find the link for you. Um, like he was slurring his words, and he did not look good. I mean, he was sweating bullets, man. Sour milk. 4.99. So do I, ACDC. Hold on, let me read this. Longtime fan, first time super chatter. You always keep it real, Big Earl, and that's why I keep coming back for more, baby doll. ACDC, I'll get the stream in the next Earlverse. I'll tell you which one it is, but he was definitely slurring, which kind of shocked me because it was really the first time I've seen him like be Biden-esque. Biden. I mean, I think Biden is still worse. And thank you very much, Sour Milk, for your first time stream. Um, I appreciate the streams. I appreciate the super chats, I should say. Um, I mean, dude, I saw what I saw, ACDC. Like, he was slurring. Or how many secret Trump fans in the LA area? Not many, to be honest with you. Um, so I mean these debates are going to be awesome. Oh yeah, I mean listen, I get why he's like sweating and shit. I mean, and the scary thing is out of the four trials, and I don't think the other three are ever going to happen, especially if he wins. I thought the Hush Money, aka Stormy Daniels, aka Michael Cohen trial was the weakest of the four. The Georgia fraud is stronger than the Hush Money trial. The January 6th, in my opinion, is stronger than the Hush Money trial. And then there's the fourth one I'm forgetting right now, but luckily with all the delays and appeals of this first, I don't think Trump will ever see another trial. Uh, but I mean, ACDC, I live here. I'm telling you. Yeah, classified documents. Thank you, beloved ball washer. Um, from what I can see, ACDC, I don't think LA has a lot of Trump fans, which is probably why he rarely has an event here. And I don't blame him. I mean, California will never go Republican, just like New York will probably never go to Republican. Texas will never go Democrat. Just some states. Florida will probably never go Democrat. Although I think enough people dislike DeSantis. Pardon me. Pardon me. This might not be carbonated. I think enough people don't like DeSantis where you could see a Democrat make some waves. Um, just the whole state of California is Democratic. So, oh yeah, I mean, whenever I do the Irvine Improv, which is not often, to be frank, you definitely can get away with more Biden jokes. I mean, Irvine specifically is a very rich area, a suburb of Orange County. Shout out to the 714. So, you can, but I think in LA, you could probably would struggle with Biden jokes. Yeah, I mean, I think they've got the Fonnie Willis, um, she's got and I think she should be not on that case because of her shenanigans with the guy who's helping on the case. So, um, I mean, it's going to be interesting. But even if he gets sentenced, they're going to appeal. And if he wins the election, listen, right now it's tight. I don't think the conviction really hurt him, to be honest with you. If anything, and this is the great thing about Trump, if anything, it helped him, because it's wakened up the base. I mean, listen, there's just no other good choices for the Republicans outside of Trump. I mean, it's sink or swim, baby dolls. Um, so, I mean, let's say, let's just in the wildest case scenario, Trump gets jailed. He's not, and he has to drop out. Um, Peter Chicken Man Brennan, $2. Bigger store liar, Johnny Zap Attack, Wheels, or Schaub? 100% Wheels. I mean, Wheels, and he was a little before my. See, I don't really count Schaub as a store guy because he's not. Like he gets on like Tripoli shows and stuff like that, but he's not a store comic. Or a store character, I guess you'd say. Like Johnny Zapp, I don't think his name's on the wall. Um, Wheels is just typical bullshitter, hanger on to Dice, and you know, um, I mean, Dice kept him around, probably like Joe kept Schaub around. I mean, Wheels would have done anything for Dice, and probably still would. Um, yeah, 100%. I mean, it's just too much conflict there, William. My family wasn't really big in voting, to be honest with you. Uh, I don't think they're gonna put him in jail. There's just too much. You can't put an ex and maybe future president in jail. I mean, the security risk would be a fucking nightmare. Now, I know James Comey said that, oh, you could just basically put him on the edge of the prison on his own, build him a special room, but that I don't think he's going to ever see jail. House arrest, but that's not jail. House arrest in Mar-a-Lago, sign me up. Didn't Wheels say he was the baby on Godfather? Yeah, I mean, Wheels was out of control. And this is LA, baby doll. Your bullshit. I have an unbelievable bullshit detector. Um, I've never met Club Soda Kenny, to be honest with you. Uh, that's what I've heard, Doctor Nova, but I don't know. Well, I mean, they don't fuck around in Mexico. I mean, she'll probably be dead in a year. I mean, like, they don't like you in Mexico. Like, you think MSNBC is hard on Trump in Mexico, they'll kill her. Was it 3 candidates got killed just for running? Um, uh, I mean, it'll be interesting, in terms of how they navigate. But by the time his sentence is in place, we'll either know if he's going to be the president or not. Um, did the guys at Hackamania look like you expected them to look? Listen, you guys say I'm a ball washer and a dick rider. In some cases, like, listen, I was the best looking guy at Hackamania, but that's not a brag. Um, Not a great looking bunch, to be frank. She liked 30 people to become president. I don't. What do you mean, Boulder Johnny? Can you specify what you're talking about? Um, but everyone at Hackamania was cool. Like, um, it's everyone got along. I mean, I had a really fun time, man. And it's only good if Hackamania does well. Like, it's like AEW. It's good for wrestling if AEW does well. If fans have an alternative to WWE. And it's good for Hackamania if it does well, because then you have not necessarily an alternative to Skankfest or Moon Tower, which is in, I think, Austin, but it's another festival for comics to do. So, favorite WWF sidekick: Al Snow's Head or Perry Saturn's Moppy? I'm going to go with Pepe the Broomstick, Chavo Guerrero Jr. Come on, Peter Chicken Man Brennan. Beloved ball washer, Joey C was upset he didn't get paid. He was so broke he barely made it home. Well, I mean, he's not really a comic. I don't know. He didn't do a podcast. I don't know what he expected to get paid for, to be honest with you. Um, Earl yeah, I mean, I can, weave in and out of hockey, wrestling, Dabbleverse, Hackamania. That's because I've not rotted my brain out to drugs. I'm quick on my feet. Who really killed WCW? I mean, Bischoff a little bit, Hogan. I think Hogan more than Bischoff. I mean, Bischoff basically had to do what Hogan wanted, or just open up that can of worms. I mean, Russo didn't help. Um, I think creative didn't help. You bring in Bret Hart and Goldberg almost fucking kills him. So there's a lot of people who are responsible. The WCW executives. What should have happened is with WWE went dirty with Sable and the Bra and Panties matches, and WCW was like, no, we're not going to do that. They should have done it to keep up with the Joneses. Do you think Argus met up with Mitzi in those last few years to throw it in one more time? I don't know. I can't. I can't talk about that. Video killed the radio star. Oh. By the way, the keyboard Jeff Downs was in the Buggles later in Asia. Well, I don't think Bret Hart was set up for success. Well, I think, some of the Turner executives just weren't wrestling fans, so they didn't exactly, support the product like they could have. I mean, I'm not a huge Bret Hart fan. I mean, he wasn't great on the mic. I mean, he was good technically, but a guy I wish would have had a longer run, but he probably wasn't great on the mic was Canadian strongman Tom McGee. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't think Joey C should have been paid. He wasn't a performer, but he was really nice. Um, Earl, who really killed roast battle? Peter Chicken. Are you trying to get me going? Let me see. I would say who killed roast battle. Boy, Jeff better ever hope there isn't a that for Vice TV because I'd be front and center on that one. Um, what killed roast battle? Honestly, I think really, I think roast battle might be the only television show to jump the shark season one. I don't think I've ever seen a show that they fucked up season one. Like Miami Vice got a little old season 4, and they were getting into some weird, like, fucking episodes, and I get it, how many Cuban drug dealers can you go up against? But, you know, I think, half the cast shouldn't have been on the show. Sam Morrill's not a roaster, Mark Norman's not a roaster, Miss Pat's not a roaster, Ralphie May's not a roaster, um, Chris Cubis wasn't a roaster. Christy Cello, who they fed to Jimmy Carr, um, she was so new at roasting that she never had a chance. Um, and I thought she almost beat him. I mean, if you now TV, they cleaned up some of her laughs in Jimmy's favor. Uh, but live, I was in the room, like, damn, she could this could be the biggest upset ever. And who else? Steve Renazizi shouldn't have been on the show. He's not a roaster. So, half the cast of season one, my season, were not roasters. And I think what finally killed, yeah, I mean, Ralphie was a great comic and a great shit talker, but, you know, and whoever put the brackets together should have been fired. To put Ralphie in a bracket with Matt Broussard and Mike Lawrence, he was going to get killed. Nobody, I mean, Matt's a fucking savage roaster. What they should have done was put Ralphie in a bracket with me, Tiana, and Hinchcliffe. All three of us were friends with Ralphie. So I just don't think watching Mike Lawrence dismantle Ralphie, I just don't think that's good television. Like, it was embarrassing to Ralphie, and it was embarrassing to Ralphie's friends who were in the room that night. Now, Ralphie signed on for the show because I'm sure Jeff sales pitched him some line of bullshit. Yeah, you're going to go up against this bearded guy. He's just a good rider, but you'll kill him. Just like that's what I'm sure they told Jesse Joyce. I didn't battle Jesse in Montreal. I battled him in the Road to Roast battle, which was in the belly room. And I'm sure Jesse was told, oh, yeah, this guy will come out half naked, but you'll fucking kill him. Okay. Hinchcliffe on New Rogan podcast, boring. I didn't listen to it. Well, but I mean, Ralphie, my point is, that's what killed Roast Battle, to answer Chicken Man Brennan's question, was like, it should have been 16 roasters: me, Tiana, Hinchcliffe, K. Trevor Wilson, um, Matt Broussard. I mean, the best of the best, because that's what makes Roast Battle work. And then, season 2, Todd Barry? Like, what? I can't think of a comic who's more anti-roast than Todd Barry. And then season 3 was an abomination. Blake Griffin, never done it before. And I thought he beat Jeff. So now we're going to rigged judging. So, that's what killed Roast Battle. Do you miss Holtzman, Dead Air? Are those broads still alive? I don't think so. I miss Holtzman. I miss This Is Not Happening. You would be perfect for it. Yeah, I mean, for some reason I was never on it, but Ari doesn't owe me anything. I would have loved to have done it. Earl, are you a Tesla fan? Not really. I don't like. Oh, I thought you meant Tesla the car. Hello. No, Tesla was too good for me, to be honest with you. Yeah, but we're never gonna get it, Jay. I asked for it for years, and then I had heard he was getting pretty close to saying yes to it. And he told my friend, "Well, it would have to be, we'd have to like work together on it." I'm like, I don't want a fake battle. If you and I ever battle, it's live fire. And then I thought, oh, he's just gonna have my ex-girlfriend write 5 jokes for him, and I've already beaten her. So like I wouldn't even be roasting Jeff. I'd be roasting Olivia. So I'm good. But that would have been fun for the show. I gave them an idea when they wanted to bring me back and they were doing that roast thing, the roast battle of the UK edition. I said, have me and Jimmy Carr battle in the UK. I'll come out with an American flag. I mean, name one battle from that UK show. 2 seasons, name one battle. You can't. Trust me, if I was involved, you would have named me and Jimmy as a battle. I would have walked out there with an American flag. We would have battled. You know, that's good television, not Blake Griffin. Who's a better person, OJ, Jeff Ross, or Brian Callen? OJ. Um, oh, it sucks, and because the guy I drove with to Vegas to watch the Steelers play, he drives hard in the paint. Trust me on that one. And we had to stop off like 3 times. And I guess it makes sense. The harder you drive, the more energy you burn. So, I'm glad. I drove my new X3 to Vegas. I'd much rather, and X3 gets great gas mileage. I only had to fill up once each way. Um, Let me see. Sister Christian is the word. I love Sister Christian. We have the Road Rager. Welcome aboard, the Road Rager. Todd Barry is a great comic. I was lucky enough at Clusterfest to do his crowd work show, and he was awesome, but not a roaster. So going back to Chicken Man Brennan's question, what killed roast battle, um, was when you started having people like Todd Barry on it. It's just like he's not a roaster. Jay Santos, 4.99. Love your style. Earl Skakel. It ain't for everyone, Jay. I keep it real. And I'm honest, which I realize in the streaming world is not cool. It's the only way I know how to be. Jimmy Carr. No, Jimmy's great. He didn't give a fuck if he lost to me. Earl, what story would you tell on This Is Not Happening? Definitely the gangbang, the first gangbang story. Because it's a long story. It's not just the initial gangbang. It was my 2 buddies, and then my buddy who didn't get to fuck her because he took her to play pool. Absolutely that one. Um, Sister, I like When You Close Your Eyes better, to be honest with you. I want that Run DMC Skakel shirt. Well, I mean, I know Melton does merch, but I don't want to be a comic who's barely known selling merch. Night Ranger did have some good songs. Don't Tell Me You Love Me, and with one of the great double guitar attacks of Jeff Watson and Brad Gillis. You know, a very underrated band musically. It's kind of like they fall into that same category as Winger. But the Road Rager, we are a small group here in the Earlverse, unfortunately. But I enjoy new people coming in. Tell a friend, tell 2 friends. I mean, the best ballad ever. I mean, that's like, so subjective. I mean, rest in peace to the singer from Firehouse who just died. I really only like that one song, Don't Treat Me Bad. I mean, the best. I mean, I grew up with Beth by Kiss. And there's so many under the radar ballads. Arcade, Stephen Pearcy's band. Um, they had a great ballad, "Who's Gonna Hold You When I'm Gone?" Um, "Don't Bring Me Down, Don't Bring Me Down." I love ELO. Yeah, yeah, great, great scene with Sister Christian. Alfred Molina, who I got to meet on the set of I'm Dying Up Here. He was, I think, R.J. Seiler's agent. I don't believe we are. That's the last time I was in a room with Stuttering John, Chicken Man. Who takes a gangbang chick on a date? A very big agent. The Ballad of Jed Clampett. That's not a bad ballad. I mean, a lot of great ballads from 80s bands in the 90s, like who was it? Wild Side has a great song on their debut major label record debut called Looks Like Love. It looks like love is holding me down. And then Shark Island is a great ballad called Bad for Each Other. Probably one of my, I mean, it was a real quick meeting. I don't mean to seem like me and Alfred Molina hung out, but he was nice. I just walked up to him. He said, "Hey, man, nice to meet you." I said, "Ricky Springfield's a friend of mine, too." And he looked at me like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, "Boogie Nights. Come on, dude." Uh, my yoga studio costs 125 a month for unlimited. They also charge you a one-time fee every January 1st of $500. It's worth it to me because I use it a lot. That's a great power ballad. And when I see you smile, I can taste the world. Oh, probably my favorite ballad. And it's not really a ballad, it's more of a breakup song, is Martin Briley's Salt in My Tears. Um, it smells, I'll just say that. Great if you've ever, we've all been through a breakup, and I'm trying to think of the lyrics to Salt in My Tears. Feeling neglected, used and rejected. You need a shoulder to lean upon. Maybe you picked 'em, found your next victim. Don't worry, someone will come along. I saw you laugh when the knife was twisted. It still hurts, but the pain has shifted. I mean, those are just with some recent breakups. Man, that is exactly how I feel. I mean, I don't think Eddie Nash had a little boy he played with, but um, you ain't worth the salt in my tears. Eruption by Van Halen. All right, you're a welcome addition to Road Rager with that. Yes, he was outside the movie theater, I believe. I thought Eric Bogosian was a better Eddie Nash than Alfred Molina, but only really, they're both probably pretty equal as actors, but Eric Bogosian kind of looks like Eddie Nash, so it worked for me. Um, I mean, the what was the ballad from that show, Ice? Not Ice Capades. The movie with Robbie Benson and Lynn Holly Johnson, Ice Castle. Looking Through the Eyes of Love. God damn, that's a haunting song. Um, I liked Eric Bogosian in the Law and Order, but you kind of, I think serious actors go on Law and Order to sell out and get some of that Dick Wolf money, and fuck it, I don't blame them. I don't really know if Eruption's a ballad. Although I do like that Van Hagar ballad, Can't Stop Loving You. Can't stop loving you. Ooh. You know what? Sammy Hagar, another Sammy Hagar song, Give to Live. If you want love, do, 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 do. Van Halen on bass. Lynn Holly Johnson, I had the biggest crush on her in that movie. And then when she was in the 1981 James Bond movie For Your Eyes Only. And then I think she just fucking quit acting. Like, it's so weird to me, like, her, obviously, Jenny Wright. I was just talking today with my friend about Paul Land from The Idol Maker and Michael Shuffling from 16 Candles. I mean, these guys, 1980 and 1987, so slightly different era of the 80s, but both really good looking guys, really good actors. And they just, I think Paul Land did 2 movies and just quit, became a construction worker. And Michael Shuffling, did the 16 Candles, Vision Quest, and then I think he makes furniture now. Like, that's crazy to me. That's a good song. How do I know if it's love? I can't tell you, but it lasts forever. Yeah, Lynn Holly Johnson, just pretty good actress. I mean, she was great in that ice skating movie with Robbie Benson. And Robbie Benson kind of like he started producing and directing, but great in One on One. That's a great guilty pleasure movie of mine. Um, with Robbie Benson, of course, the great G.D. Spradlin, who literally didn't start acting till he was 50. So there's hope for me. I could be the G.D. Spradlin of stand-up comedy. Um, who was roommates? I mean, yeah, I mean, SCV, I appreciate it. I mean, I think the one time where it was really bad, I did a little bit earlier. I think it was like 3:30, and I'm at the mercy of my internet. Like right now, I don't think that many people are on their internet in my area. So I like Bonnie Tyler's "It's a Heartache." It's a heartache, nothing but a fool's game. Hit you when you're down. I don't know the rest of the words. It's been a minute. What's your favorite Eric Stoltz picture? The wildlife, dude. Come on. Wheezy Jefferson. I heard G.D. Spradlin aspires to be the Earl Skakel of stand-up comedy. Well, he's dead, so like he's a little late to the party on that one. Earl, check out Corey Feldman Band live. Thank me later. No, thank you now. Shit. Earl, Michael Shuffling. But it's just weird to me, like how you could just get off to such a good start in your acting career. Like I can understand Mark Hamill having problems because it's like he'll always be Luke Skywalker. Because you can't really put him in any other role. You put him in a TV show, it's like, oh, that's Luke Skywalker. Like you just, you know, so it's tough. Like when it's like the weirdest dynamic of, oh my God, this guy was in 3 of the biggest fucking financially successful movies of all time. But he didn't get that much money because he signed his life away for the first one. Probably made a little bit more money the second one, and probably decent cut of the third one. But if he had a good agent, he got some profits of the dolls and shit. Uh, Ben Bone Jones, welcome from Australia, and here's hoping Moody, Melton's wingman, uh, in Vegas at Hackamania gets back to New Zealand safe and sound. Let's hit the like button. Let's get to 50 likes. That does not cost anyone money, baby dolls. But see, here's the weird thing. Like Ed O'Neill, absolutely Al Bundy. Like when I watch his episode of Miami Vice, which was long before Married with Children, I look at that and go, that's not Artie Rollins, rogue DEA agent. That's Al Bundy. Um, but it's just weird. Like, Mark Hamill, like, how do you bring him in for an audition? It's like Dexter. I mean, that's been off the air for a few years now, and like you bring that guy in for an audition, it's like, oh, that's Dexter. We can't have him play the loving husband. People are going to look at him and go, that's Dexter. Good for Ed O'Neill, who's also a pretty high level jujitsu man, from what I understand. Yeah, I mean, I think Rodney Dangerfield was over 50. So, I'm 55. The clock is ticking, baby dolls. I need people in the Earlverse to spread the word. Pretty please. I'm a lone comedy soldier. I have no um, producer. I mean, I have a voiceover agent, but like, let's get it together, guys. I've gone after Dave Chappelle, and I had a much better set after Dave Chappelle killed and leveled the room than going on after the guy from Hackamania. And I don't know the guy who went on before me at Hackamania. Full disclosure, he could be a super funny comic, but he made a choice that night of telling a long-winded story that just kind of went nowhere. And the one bad thing about that room is that it was easy to leave, because it was quiet. The lounge bar area was quiet. So people could leave because the room was dark. So they didn't really have a problem leaving. Um, like when you're at the Comedy Store and you're sitting in the first 20 rows, I can see you. And it's, my senses are so heightened that people, I think, stay even if they want to leave because they don't want to be called out. Um, I find it hard to believe Jason Alexander would be a high jiu-jitsu guy, but I'll take your word for it. And why does Tony want everyone to move to Austin? Well, I mean, it's worked out for Tony. I don't know. What's your take on Marshall Applewhite? I didn't really follow that too much, Queen, on, to be honest with you. Well, I mean, Dr. Nova, that's a good point about Harrison Ford. I mean, he was lucky because Indiana Jones kind of took off right pretty soon after the Star Wars hype, so he didn't get pigeonholed. And then, he had some other pretty big films, uh, Clear and Present Danger and many other films. Like, I mean, I couldn't name you another Mark Hamill movie outside of Corvette Summer. Um, so, it's like the cast of Friends. Imagine you're making $1 million an episode. So clearly people like watching you, but really none of them had a successful movie career. I mean, David Schwimmer had a few bombs, Matthew Perry a few bombs. I mean, Jennifer Aniston was in that Marky Mark movie, Rockstar, which is a guilty pleasure of mine. Okay, that's surprising to me, William. I had no idea. You Can't Let Go Now, Daddy by Patricia McGuire is the saddest song ever to me, especially if you have a daughter. Well, I tell you, speaking of that, Vince Neil's song about his daughter Skylar, who passed away, is pretty. When you know how she died, stomach tumor, and take away some of the things Vince Neil has done personally. And I've met him once or twice. He's not the most pleasant guy when he's drinking. I'll just say that. But that song is a great. It's a very sad song. It's a song about his daughter dying. And it's not necessarily. Speaking of Vince Neil, it's not necessarily a ballad, but when he did that makeover show, this is a good guilty pleasure song because I don't think it's on Spotify, but it's a song called "Promise Me." And Desmond Child was brought in to help write him a new hit. So they show him like recording with Vince Neil. My friends, since you've been with me from the beginning of you, the beginning of me will always. And then I forget the rest. It's been a minute since I've heard the song Promise Me, but it's not technically a ballad, but very good song. And Desmond Child had a Love on a Rooftop off his solo album where he actually, he sang his own songs. Who's a better person, Randy Stone, Jeff Ross, or Brian Callen? Well, at least Randy Stone bought me a milkshake. A milkshake. at the Beverly Hills Hotel once, so I'll go Randy Stone. I mean, I've had dinner with Jeff a few times. Like, we used to be friends. Like, I don't know what happened. Gallon, he's horrible. Uh, okay, I don't recall that song AC/DC. Well, he might. I did not do the OJ tour yet. I've got to plan it out a little bit. Maybe tomorrow or Friday, I'll walk the route myself and just see how long it takes because Nicole, her condo's on Brentwood, just above Wilshire. OJ's Rockingham estate was on Suns, no, up Sunset on Bundy. So I got to make sure, and I want to do it at night on a Sunday night. I like to keep it real, as you guys know. Great milkshake at the Beverly Hills Hotel. I don't know if they still have it there. I don't go there a lot. Uh, they had a burger, fries, and shake that was like right out of Arnold's Drive-In. Yeah, see, Peter knows the deal. Randy Stone, he does his research. Um, I mean, I saw Vince in 2000 with Piercy at Cooperstown in Arizona. It was pretty rough. Uh, I would not, Jay Santos. I would not live in South Central. I don't care. If you saw Piven in the streets, would you bury the hatchet? Listen, if he came up to me, I said, listen, dude, that whole shit that happened at Roast Battle, that was their idea, not mine. I thought you were in on the joke, you know, which is true. I was sitting in the hallway waiting to go on. Someone from Roast Battle texted me, hey, get up there and roast Piven. So I thought he was in on the joke. Like Jeff probably told him, hey, this guy's going to come up there just to do a quick roast battle. We'll end the show on a fun, wacky note. And then after the first two jokes, when he didn't really say anything back to me, I remember thinking to myself, oh, fuck, he's not in on the joke. I've been sabotaged. And then he wanted to fight. Polo Lounge is great. Great for some tuna hunting. I love. Did you ever drive up to Neptune's Net? I don't know what that is, beloved ball washer. Neptune's Net is high class now. Of course, he's been there. I don't know what it is, to be honest with you, William Zoom. I mean, I'm not a good fighter, to be honest with you. I'm pretty. Hey, let's get to 60 likes. I'll go 2 hours tonight if we can get to 60 likes. The last time I've been to Malibu, I've gone to Gladstone's a few times. Been to that Irish breakfast spot that's closed down. What a bummer. Went to some Greek place at the really high-end shopping center in Malibu. Malibu, PCH and Cross Creek Road for you local yokels. I am not a little fighter. The Comedy Store make a lot of money. It does. That it does. Shout out. And Lori Petty's another one who just kind of faded out after some initial. Oh, okay. Earl, let me see here. Sorry, I just hit the wrong button. Let me thank my super chatters. We're going 2 hours tonight. We'll break the rules. Peter Chicken Man Brennan, Sour Milk, with his first super chat. Thank you very much, Peter Chicken Man Brennan, and the great Jay Santos celebrating his third super chat. Listen, I appreciate the super chats. Lori was the one who gave Keanu Reeves surf lessons. Now, I don't have any goals for overtime. I'm not panhandling for money. I'm feeling it. We got 20 more minutes in the Earlverse. Then I'm going to write some jokes. I'm going to work out at my home gym and then go to sleep. I'm sure there's other streamers streaming. If you were offered $1 million to be security guard at South Central McDonald's for 1 year, would you do it? Fuck that. Would you date a girl that has an OnlyFans? I have, to be honest with you. I have no rules on dating, to be honest with you. If I like a girl, I like a girl. You know, I've said I wouldn't date a comic again, given how my last few relationships have ended. But you know what? If I met a comic and vibed with her, I'd probably date her. Uh, I don't know. I never watched The Matrix. I have not seen one Matrix. Rosie picked a knife fight with someone better than went to Oz. Well, one of the guys from System of a Down, uh, he comes to the Comedy Store, but no, they not really. I'm not a hater. I just, I don't know a lot about their catalog, to be honest with you. Earl, you need to find a chick with no money. I'm an expert at that. Um, Earl, for 1,000,000, would you bang Blue Iris? Oh boy, no. 5,000,000, I'd think about it. 1,000,000, it's a little low, a little low. It's like the old Robert Schimmel joke. Would you suck Mike Tyson's dick for $1,000,000? He's like, yeah, that buys a lot of mouthwash. Hello. I've never seen any of the Matrix movies. Yeah, I don't know why. I'm a big Keanu Reeves and Lawrence Fishburne fan. I love Lawrence Fishburne in King of New York, which is a real under the radar Christopher Walken movie. You bone a chick 3 weeks and you find out she's transitioned to a girl 5 years ago. What do you do? Oh boy, that's a tough one. Um, oh boy. Uh, Gee, I don't know. That's one of those things. It's like asking someone, "What would you do if you won the lottery?" You now in your head, you're like, I'd buy a nice car and a home." But like, what would you really do if you won a few 100,000,000? Um, I can't answer that question. I made out with a chick once, and one time it was getting to the nitty gritty, and I was about to put my hand down there, and she's like, "Hey, just so you know, I have a dick," and I was like, "Well, just so you know, I'm trying to come." Boing. How much to go on a date with Kevin Spacey? There ain't enough money in the world, brother. Uh, yeah, I've never seen Harry Potter. Would you fly Spirit Airlines to Freaknik in Atlanta? No, I would not. Beloved ball washer, wash your dick for sure. Yeah, boing. Lord of the Cock Rings. Would you ever tell a Hackverse joke or a KB joke if Neil's watching your set at the store just for fun? Neil don't know what the fucking Dabbleverse is. Um, Two chicks at the same time. I've never done that. Have sex with two girls at once. Would I do it? It depends what they look like. Who was more emotionally unsound, Harris Pete or Blue Iris Lunatic's son? Definitely Blue Iris's son, no doubt about it. That's a fact, as Kevin Brennan would say. Sour Milk, Earl, longest Earl stream going down today. I mean, it's up there. I think the longest stream I ever did was close to 3 hours one night. And the funny thing is, I don't think I made $1. I just, I felt, the zone. I was in the zone. And then not auto parts. Earl didn't take the pizza guy from Fast Times. He won't date Spacey. 100%. That's a fact. It's my Kevin Brennan impression. Hundo percent. That's a fact. That was Taylor Negron, the great Taylor Negron. Have you ever been with a plus size girl? 100% I have. Check out the chick Jen Norton has. I mean, that's his wife. Listen, if you like trans women, like, I don't have a problem with that. Well, here's the thing. I was at Mel's Diner the night I bought Francesca a burger at, no, not Mel's Diner, Swingers Diner. I was with Sophie, the waitress from the Comedy Store, and I think one other waitress. We were eating. Francesca sat in the booth behind us alone. I felt really bad for her because you could tell she wanted to sit at our table, but I don't know. I forget why we didn't let her sit down, but she smelled so bad. And I bought her a burger and she left. And I remember telling Sophie, God, she smells like death. Like it wasn't BO. And then she died the next day. She was cool to me, I mean, she was a troubled soul, but um would you do a threesome with Leslie Jones and Amy Schumer? Man, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. It depends how horned up I was. What's wrong with Kevin Spacey? He's just really horny. Monster Rain was real. I don't know what that means, beloved ball washer. Would you make out with Felicia Rose from Sleepaway Camp? I don't know who that is. Mel's Diner was from the 70s sitcom, but it's also on Sunset Boulevard. I liked Kevin Spacey in The Negotiator, to be honest with you. If I could weird science woman, option one, mute. Pew! Did you ever see Eric Douglas perform at the store? I'm surprised you haven't shoehorned a Jason Washington reference. I have not. I've seen Eric Edwards. Uh, yeah, I mean, Francesca was absolutely just a troubled soul. I'm sure the Hilton family kind of. I got the feeling she was kind of discarded from the family. What are you, Peter Graves, Queen on? That movie's even funnier to me now. Airplane, where it's like, oh, Peter Graves is a pedophile. Joey, have you ever was that the same kid who was in the Poseidon Adventure? I knew him from somewhere. Uh, Joey, do you like it when a dog rubs up and down on your leg? And I remember that was in 1980. So I was 12 years old when I saw Airplane at the Bruin Theater in Westwood. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? Do you like movies about Roman gladiators? I didn't get the reference. Um, beat you to it, Queen on. Daddy man, if you see Eleanor, ask her about the Freddie Soto, Eric Douglas, and his dog story. I will. I will. That was Beaver Cleaver's mom. Yeah, I mean, some of those people just aren't wired right. I mean, look at all those child actors. I mean, Dana Plato was on the hottest sitcom for a couple years, and then she probably couldn't get acting work. I mean, look at Todd Bridges. I mean, Gary Coleman probably knew he wasn't going to get a lot of work. There's not really a lot of roles for you know, uh, a black little person. Um, Airplane is just well, what makes Airplane? Hey, let's get to 60 likes, kiddies. Let's get to 60 likes since we are doing a 2-hour stream in the Earlverse. Um, the great thing about Airplane was, yeah, the jokes were funny, but it was really who was telling them that made it funny. Peter Graves, Leslie Nielsen, um, Lloyd Bridges, even some of the character actors who were controllers, Robert Stack, they had never done comedy before. So um, that's what kind of made it funnier. It's like RoboCop casting where Kurtwood Smith and Ronnie Cox had never played bad guys before. They'd always played like the dad or the uncle or the good guy. So that's to me what makes RoboCop such a great movie. It wasn't necessarily the story, but it was the bad guys. They were good guys. Like Ronnie Cox, he's usually playing roles like he did in Beverly Hills Cop. Um, would you have been in? I listen. I'm so desperate for work. I would have been in Soul Plane 2. I mean, I love the gay guy in Airplane. But I mean, before RoboCop, he wasn't really a bad guy. You'd get like the dad in that '70s show. Mount Rushmore of wrestling. Yeah, we can end on a little wrestling talk. I mean, that's a tough one to answer because I think there's different categories of wrestling. Um, are you talking about the top four most known wrestlers of all time? It's got to be Hogan, The Rock, Stone Cold, and Ric Flair. If you're talking the four best bad guys, it's probably you know Hollywood Hogan, Rick Rude. Um, and I mean, you can trying to think of other bad guys. Dr. D, David Schultz is a fantastic bad guy. The Iron Sheik. Um, I mean, yeah, I mean Andre the Giant's up. I mean, if you're talking, it depends on what category. Top good guys, you got to go John Cena. And then also if you include um, today's guys, I mean, I don't know if MJF is one of the most known guys yet, but he will be. Sting's in the discussion. I was talking with someone yesterday about yeah, Piper's. I mean, you're going to leave out someone. Um, you know, I mean, with wrestling, there's so many great categories you could have, like the best bodies. Ultimate Warrior is like, is still talked about, and he's been dead what 10 years. Um, you know, yeah, still alive, Kongzilla. We're doing an almost 2 hour stream, but 2 hours is nothing in the Melton or Kevin Brennan world. I mean, we haven't had too many dead spots here, but like, 2 hours is probably my max, to be honest with you. I'm trying to think of it. Nikolai Volkov was a great bad guy. He's in the discussion. Um, oh, for me, I mean, so my Mount Rushmore of just wrestlers that I like, and I would just my personal Mount Rushmore, and I know that this would not be like Pro Wrestling Illustrated's top Rushmore. I would go Sid, Kamala, Rick Rude, and Sting, or Flair. Flair's got to be in there. So I would go Sid, Kamala, Flair, and Sting with Rick Rude right on the outside. I mean, Jake the Snake's a great bad guy. No, just some gum manipulation. Nothing too bad, but it was sore. I mean, the guy really dug in there. Um, so, Williams, I think you said something that I did not address. Yeah, I mean, I left to clown Ray. Well, I mean, we're back. We're back. I mean, let me see the Bolsheviks. Uh, I mean, well, there's so many great. I mean, Big John Studd, Andre the Giant. When you go back, but if you go back before that, Bruno Sammartino has to be considered. Um, if you go, but ECW, the Sandman. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even mention Randy Savage. So, Major, you better take a look at this. Blaine's body is gone. No, I don't have gingivitis. I take great care of my mouth. But I mean, you get to be my age. Things, go up and down. Yeah, I mean, Adrian Adonis. I don't know if I would put him in any Mount Rushmore, other than maybe top gay character. Because he had that kind of leather daddy. Dusty Rhodes is someone you'd have to be considered. I mean, Nikita Koloff would be in my top 10. Um, I met that guy, Kongzilla. I met him at I think it was Bentley who came up to me and said, "Hey, I'm the guy who said you're the SD Jones of comedy." SD Jones, one of the great jobbers of the '80s. Um, So, I mean, Randy Orton, yeah, I mean, but I think wrestling is very much it's a generation thing. Like I told you when one time me and Chandler watched, we each picked a James Bond for the other to watch. She had never seen a Roger Moore James Bond. I'd never seen a Daniel Craig James Bond. She was bored by Roger Moore. She's like, I don't get the humor. It's silly. It's like slapstick. And I was like, Daniel Craig's too fucking serious. Point is, neither one of us was wrong. So when you talk about wrestling, to a younger person like who's like 20, they're gonna look at Hulk Hogan and go, "This guy's a fucking buffoon." But to me, Hulk Hogan was my whole world. Um, or they look at Roddy Piper and go, "He's not big enough to be a bad guy." Um, Top big men wrestling, Big Show, Giant Gonzalez. Uh, you could go top stiffest wrestlers. Definitely Sid. I mean, when he power bombed Pillman twice, and after the first one, Pillman was unconscious, and he still power bombed him a second time. License to Kill. Yeah, I mean, I love Timothy Dalton. Would you have banged China? Absolutely. She had some great best turn ever. Oh, it's not even close. Uh, Look up what was it called? The Superpowers, when Dusty Rhodes went to the ring with Nikita Koloff behind him. Now, this is like a couple days after Magnum TA's accident. So WC or NWA needed a new good guy. And Dusty Rhodes is going to a cage match against J.J. Dillon and I think Arn Anderson. And Nikita Koloff's trailing Dusty Rhodes. Now, you got to remember, this is in the height of the Cold War, I think 1986, 87, when we fucking hated Russia. I mean, hated them. And it was such good acting by Nikita Koloff. So Dusty Rhodes gets into the cage, charges Anderson and Dillon, and they're double teaming him. And you see Nikita Koloff look back at the crowd, kind of look into the camera, look at Dusty Rhodes, doesn't save him right away, and then he saves him. That's the biggest pop I've ever heard. No fake crowd noise, no fake Goldberg chants. Goldberg's another guy. You got to go, hey, he was WCW's guy for a while. I mean, I think there's not too many fans of Timothy Dalton as Bond because he just wasn't there that long. But they were grooming him to be Bond for a long time because I think after Moonraker, actually, it might have been after Spy Who Loved Me, Roger Moore was on a film-to-film contract. And I think that, who almost became James Bond was the guy he killed in the beginning of Spy Who Loved Me on the ski slope. He was being groomed to be James Bond. Um, and then, the two film companies were suing each other over the rights. So that's why at one point they had, I think during, not Octopussy, View to a Kill, they had the Sean Connery Bond come out at the same time. Hey guys, in the next 2 minutes, I don't ask you guys for much. I really don't. Let's get to 60 likes for Daddy. It's free of charge to just hit the like button. Daniel Craig was great. He's just too serious for me. I grew up with Roger Moore as Bond, so that's really the guy that I grew up watching. Best Bond film per actor, I would say From Russia with Love, Connery. I would say Spy Who Loved Me for Moore. License to Kill for Dalton. And I wasn't. I really only saw the first one with Daniel Craig, and obviously George Lazenby. Thank you for the 60 likes, you kids. That's I believe it's a hump day record, to be honest with you. And here I almost didn't do a stream tonight. Duran Duran. Yeah, that's a banger. Great. My favorite Bond song of all time is the Carly's. I wasn't looking, but somehow you found me. Yeah. Nobody does it better. Oh man, someone took off a like, man. That's unnecessary. I've done a 2-hour stream tonight, and someone just took their like away. Yeah, Diamonds Are Forever is a great Bond film. I like The Man with the Golden Gun. 2 people took their likes away. Now you guys are just trolling me. Okay, that's cool, William. Now they're putting their likes back. Now I'm becoming like Kevin, just looking at the numbers. Yeah, no takebacks, guys. I mean, I've done a 2-hour stream. Let's be cool. And before we end tonight, let me thank the super tippers, the chatters, the tippers, whatever. Peter Chicken Man, Brennan, Sour Milk, Peter Chicken Man, Brennan, and Screamin' Jay Santos. Thank you, kids. Thank you, kids, for hitting the likes. The people who've been in and out of the stream. 69 likes. That might take us a while. John Ray, Mount Rushmore of STDs from the Comedy Store. That could be another 2-hour podcast. Gordon Soley was well. I mean, likes are overrated, but they do help with the algorithm. To be honest with you, it's really what's almost, I don't want to say it's preferred to money, but what really keeps the algorithm engine going are likes, and from what I've been told, subscribers. So I would say in the last 7 months, I've gone from 1,400 subscribers to 2,400 subscribers, or whatever the actual number is. So that's 1,000 new subscribers in a 6 months. That's not too bad. I mean, do I wish it was more? Sure. I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't really go around asking what STDs comics have. I've never had an STD. So I'm lucky in that regard. LA is very, yeah. I mean, they say most people have herpes. 69 likes, make it happen, be part of history. I mean, that's 10 more likes, and I got to figure there's not 10 more people who are coming in to watch on a midday stream. You haven't lived till you got an STD. Herpes is okay. I mean, I don't know about that. I don't know if I'd say it's okay, but I'm glad I don't have it. I mean, I'm surprised in the roast battle circuit there aren't more sexually transmitted diseases, because everyone was fucking everyone. Did Hackamania get you a boost? I mean, I probably added on Instagram probably 8 to 10 followers, most of them being some of the comics in the Win Earl Skakel's Money contest. Um, who has more sex, rock stars or comics? Well, I mean, probably rock stars, because they're playing to more people. Like, I mean, Mick Jagger's playing to, 70,000 people a night. Even a successful comic is playing to maybe 500. But, it's still pretty good. I know, being a 55-year-old comic from Los Angeles, growing up in the 80s, I've never had a beer or an STD. It is pretty impressive. Well, I mean, every female comic's different. Some it's, not even some it's before the first date. Uh, well, I mean, rock stars just have more opportunity. Now, you take someone, I mean, Bert's married, so and I know he's 100% faithful. Rob Schneider, when I toured with him, 100% faithful. I mean, me and Rob, when we would do theaters, we'd do like 1,000-person theaters. Sometimes they were a little more. So you probably had at least 50 girls at those said shows who would fuck Rob like that. He didn't. And then I got the runoff. Boing! Um, I mean, like the one time I did Roast Battle at Clusterfest, I think we were playing the Bill Graham Auditorium, and there was 3,000 people. But I bombed, so I don't think too many girls were going to fuck me after that. But I was also had a girlfriend at the time, so um, there's that. I think I mentioned it, but does have access to my plugin links. That's all. That's all good. That's all good. Gibbs Smith, all good. So, guys, we're gonna end the stream tonight. We've done a nice, tight 2 hours and 3 minutes. We didn't really talk about anything in particular, but I do appreciate you guys checking it out. If you haven't done so, hit the like button, hit the stream, subscribe, all that shit. It might not have been that tight in all fairness, but I do appreciate you guys. Yeah, it's fun chat. We're just fucking around. These are improv streams. I don't sit here with a list of things to talk about. I don't stream snipe other people. Um, so my stream might be boring to the Dabbleverse, but I would love to see anybody who does the stream snipes do one show for 2 straight hours where you don't talk about Stuttering John. I'd like to see it. Good night now.